Good evening. Good evening. Let us get started. Welcome. For those of you who are just joining us this week, my name is Michael Colatrella, and I'm the Dean of the McGeorge School of Law at the University of the Pacific. And on behalf of the faculty and staff and current students, I welcome you to this law school. I'm especially pleased that so many are joining from abroad in our LLM program. You're most welcome here. I also like to acknowledge that many of your friends and family are watching remotely in the various classrooms across the campus and also online. So we're also being streamed, so be careful what you say. I'll give you a short overview of the program tonight. I'm going to make a few personal remarks. Then the Alumni Association Board of Directors President, Chelsea Tibbs, is here to say a few words. Then our Associate Dean, Jeff Prosky, will introduce our faculty. And then we're very honored to have the Honorable Ronald Roby here, an alumnus of the law school, to provide the Oath of Professionalism that we're going to do. And so what this event really is, it's to mark your career as a legal professional and to provide some sanctimony to this sort of proceeding. And then after the oath, you'll put on your pins. You'll be directed to do that. And then we'll just begin and end. And we're going to have a nice reception on the quad. So after that, but at least I forget, because Jose, where's Jose? He's the photographer. He's there. He will take a picture of you. So at the end, I will make sure you stay in your seats, and then Jose will take this picture of you, and then we're going to go proceed onto the quad. And so in this class, we'll talk a little bit more about the details later, but we have our JD students, our LLM students, our JSD students, MSL students, MPA students, and MPP students. And on the quad, we'll explain what all those things mean. But right now, I'm just going to say a few words of welcome. So you will find, I think, McGeorge to be a very welcoming academic home. I hope that you had a taste of that this week during orientation. The faculty and staff are very committed to your education. We care deeply about your law school experience, and we want to make it extraordinary. That's the goal that we have. You will also find that the students, your peers, are incredibly generous and supportive. One of the great joys of graduate education, I think, is working with peers who, like you, are committed to becoming the best version of themselves through education. And although you may have different interests, you share a love of knowledge, you share a passion for the law, and you share a desire to put that education to practical use. And it's that bond that will inspire lifelong friendships throughout your career. An understanding of law and policy is particularly important in this moment in time in our history. There is an upheaval of sorts regarding the rule of law, which you may have had some information about in the news. Even what the rule of law means is being debated. And I will say to you, unfortunately, too many of us have only a vague understanding of what the rule of law is in terms of protecting our democracies and democracies around the world. Consequently, we tend to rely on the media to help us with that understanding, and that in and of itself is not a bad thing, but I hope you appreciate that all media is biased, some intentionally so, and some because they're trying to communicate complex ideas to a mass audience in short sound bites and short stories that are easily digestible, which just inevitably leads to distortion and oversimplicity. You are about to acquire a superpower. You may not know that. And that superpower is to find, to read, understand, and interpret the law, whether that law is a statute or a case or an administrative rule. This is an incredibly powerful thing. You will find it exhilarating, and your friends and family will find it annoying. A new world is going to open up to you. You're never going to read a newspaper the same way again. You're never going to listen to a legal news story the same way again. But the benefit of this is that you are going to be able to create your own informed opinions about whether a case that a judge has decided is correct, what a statute means, and in this moment, what does it mean to run a democratic society? The lawyers who are joining us from another country, who are trained there and practice there, you will learn about the American legal system, and that is a great benefit, but you will also learn, ironically, about your own systems in comparison. You'll have a deeper understanding of what it means to create law and interpret the law in your particular country. But whether you're educated in other countries or educated here, you will have more agency over your own ideas and thoughts. That is the gift that we are going to give to you. I am an admirer of Winston Churchill, not the least of which because he fought fascism in a very singular way when he was the British Prime Minister during World War II. But you may know he was also a journalist, an historian, an artist, and he was a first-class thinker who left us with quite a number of witty witticisms and, I think, wise thoughts. So I want to give a quote, one of my favorite quotes of Churchill's to you. Churchill says this: "To each there comes a time in their lifetime, a special moment, when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared and unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour." I believe there are many such moments in any life, and in fact, you are experiencing one of them tonight, because you have been prepared and qualified to be admitted to this law school, and this is one of your finest hours. Moreover, the people watching, the people who supported you, your family and your friends, it's one of their finest hours too. So for you and your family, let's have an acknowledgement. There is going to be other opportunities for you to have those special moments, I believe. And law school is a grand preparation. It will make you a better thinker. It will make you a better reader. And if you allow it, it will expand your worldview. You will be a better person as a consequence of this education. If you work hard and learn your trade well, you will be prepared the next time those special moments happen to you. And those are the moments that give us meaning and purpose in our lives. Welcome to McGeorge. So I'd like to first, I'm going to be doing some introductions, and the first ones are for our student leadership. And I'd like just if you can give a wave or just a little hello or stand up. Our Student Bar Association president is Courtney Yamagawa. Here's Courtney. And next to her are the student bar leaders as well. So we're not going to introduce them, but say hi to them. Maybe one day you'll be president. So I also want to introduce the management team. So in leading a law school, as you might know, there's a lot that goes on, a lot of help is needed, and so the law school deans have a management team in mind. Many of them are here, not all of them are here, but I want to just introduce some of them you know already. Assistant Dean of Students and Community Belonging, Dean Adams. Where's Dean Adams? There she is. Director of our legal clinics and professor of law, Linda Coco. Is Linda here? I don't see her, but you'll know her. She's great. Assistant Dean of the Office of Advancement, Cassandra Fernandez. There's Cassandra. You know him, Larry Levine, Professor of Law and Associate Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. There's Larry. Okay. Professor and Director of the Public Administration and Public Policy Programs, Dr. Marcy Palinelli. Where's Marcy? Is she here? There she is. Okay. Moving on, Assistant Dean for Graduate Online International Programs, Clemence Gutierrez. And the people that work with, I'm not going to say their titles, but the people that work very closely with Clemence and doing all the wonderful things they do is Adriana Aguana, Mary Economy, Natalie Coconubo Lesser, here she is. And while he is not on my management team, although I really wish he was, our friend, financial advisor, Joe Pincus. Is Joe here? There he is, okay. And a special thank you to Monica Alarcon. Is Monica here? There she is. So, the orientation took quite a lot of people, but Monica was one of the lead people involved, and so I just want to just say she did a superb job. Leah Adams also worked on orientation. Tyler Warren, where's Tyler? There he is. And Kelly Sarnowski, is she here? She's not here, but you're going to know Kelly. She's great. Okay, so with that, those are some of the introductions. I want to now turn it over to our Alumni Association President, Chelsea Tibbs. Let me just say a few words about Chelsea. She's the current president of the McGeorge Alumni Association Board of Directors. She graduated from McGeorge in 2015 and earned her undergraduate degree in political science from UC San Diego. Chelsea currently serves as the Associate General Counsel for the Sacramento County Office of Education, where she advises on labor relations, employee investigations, student issues, civil rights compliance. Before becoming an attorney, Chelsea served in the United States Peace Corps in Guyana, where she promoted adolescent health education, launched regional public initiatives for health. Her career has been rooted in public service with over a decade of experience supporting California schools and educational agencies. Please welcome Chelsea.
Thank you, Dean, and good evening and welcome. On behalf of the entire alumni network, thousands of McGeorge grads who are doing meaningful work around the country and around the world, I want to welcome you. I want to say welcome to McGeorge and welcome to the legal profession. I remember standing in your shoes, quite literally in this room not too long ago, about to take the same oath of professionalism. And to be honest, I did not feel very professional. I felt like an imposter. I felt like I didn't belong. I was just some dyslexic hippie kid fresh out of the Peace Corps with dirt under my fingernails. And when I walked into this room today, I felt that same wave of nerves and like, what the heck am I doing here? I wasn't sure if I belonged in this space. And then I looked around the room, and I realized that we are all here together. We will all be standing together about to make the same promise. Something deeper had drawn each of us to this room, to this work, whether we came from a long line of attorneys in our family or whether we were the first ones to go to college. Our lived experiences and our sense of justice and fairness and our purpose brought us here. And as we raised our hands to take the oath, as you will momentarily, we weren't pledging perfection. We were committing to show up and to keep learning and to carry ourselves with honesty and integrity and resolve, even when it's hard, and it will be. But before you take the oath tonight, I would like to offer a reflection. This ritual, this standing here together, making a pledge, reminds me, and I hope reminds all of you, that the work didn't start with us. The work of truth-telling and justice-making was going on long before any of us came to this space. Long before I stood here and I brought my values into this profession, others were fighting for fairness and dignity and access. And tonight, that baton is being passed on to you. It's easy, I think, especially in this moment, to feel cynical. The problems are huge, and the hypocrisy is loud, and there's a temptation at times to give in to despair. But participating in a tradition like this invites us to take a longer view, to take that long view. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And it doesn't bend on its own. It is because of people like you who carry it forward. And that's what makes this moment meaningful. In a time where our institutions feel fragile, it's the people behind them. It's you, your integrity, your discipline, your sense of shared responsibility that restores that trust. And this promise that you make tonight to lead with civility and humility and conviction, that's how we begin to build a professional community where everyone belongs and where trust can grow. So as you take your oath tonight, I hope you remember this. You don't have to earn your place in this room. You already have it. And you're not alone. The classmates around you will become your people. The faculty and staff will challenge you and support you. And the McGeorge alumni, myself included, are here to open doors and offer guidance and walk with you as you build your careers. So congratulations on this moment. Welcome to McGeorge, welcome to the legal profession, and welcome to a profession where your principles and your courage to live by them will make all the difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. So I have one more set of introductions before Dean Prosky introduces our faculty. And these are the people that you probably had the most interaction with, at least before you came here, and that's our admissions department. So I want to introduce to you, who needs no introduction, Assistant Dean for Admissions and Professor here, Dan Croxall. Where is Dan? Of course, Anne Marie Meyer. And Danielle Shipes, there she is. So now I'm going to introduce my Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Experiential Learning and my friend Jeff Prosky. He's going to have the honor of introducing our wonderful faculty. Come on up, Jeff.
Thank you, Dean Colatrella. Welcome, everybody. I have the great honor of getting to introduce this incredible group of people behind me, my colleagues for many years, and a group of accomplished scholars, teachers, and members of our community who will be the shepherds who guide you through your experience while you're here on this campus and thereafter. So I'll ask you to stand as I say your name and tell you something fun about each of them. Because, believe it or not, they are human, much like you and me. So I'm going to tell you what they teach, and I'm also going to give you a little fun fact to let you know part of what makes them tick that you may not see in their curricula vitae. All right, Antoinette Pierre-Louis, Professor Pierre-Louis will be teaching our Skills Lab in Pass 2. She loves to travel, and her last international adventure was to Dubai to celebrate her best friend's birthday. Professor Larry Levine. Teaching torts, advanced torts, sexual orientation, gender identity, and the law, AHP Supreme Court seminar. Professor Levine wanted to teach from an early age. He forced his younger sister to play school more than she appreciated. And in high school, belonged to some random organization called the Future Teachers of America. Lindsay Harrington. Professor Harrington. Professor Harrington teaches Pass 1, Pass 2, and LLM legal research, writing, and analysis. Professor Harrington once secured a swift acquittal for her client in a criminal trial after just 5.5 minutes of jury deliberation, setting a firm record for the fastest jury verdict, undercutting a senior partner's firm record of 7 minutes. Professor Clark Kelso. Professor Kelso teaches remedies, evidence, government law and policymaking, and health law. Professor Kelso is a fourth cousin, 8 times removed, of Colonel George Ross, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, and also related to Betsy Ross, credited by some with making the second official U.S. flag. Professor William Shapiro. GLS 1, GLS 3, trial advocacy, mock trial evidence. Professor Shapiro started his teaching career in 1993 as a Peace Corps volunteer in Botswana. Professor Melissa Brown. Professor Brown teaches elder law and social policy and elder and health law clinic. She's a keyboard player for an all-female band called Iola Rose. Yes. Professor Chinwe Ohanele. Teaches GLS 1 and GLS 3. She planned a multi-day comic book convention in Lagos, Nigeria, early in her career because she's passionate about intellectual property, culture, and creativity. Professor Ashley Bolton. Teaches GLS 1, GLS 2, and GLS 3. She's currently working to master stand-up paddleboard yoga. Yeah, wow. Professor Jennifer Harder. Statutes and regulations, first-year JD. Administrative law, environmental practice, and water resources law. In high school, Professor Harder helped build a fish hatchery on campus where she raised salmon and steelhead as part of an effort to restore a local creek. At the time, it was the only high school fish hatchery in the contiguous U.S. The program that we started is still going strong today. Congratulations. Professor Nicholas Heidorn. Professor Heidorn is teaching law for public administration, and he speaks French fluently and hosts an annual Bastille Day party. Très bien. Professor Michael Malloy. Banking law, business associations, contracts, law, and literature. Dr. Malloy has authored or edited over 270 books and book-length supplements in such fields as banking and corporate and securities regulation, contracts, economic sanctions, international banking, philosophy, and public international law. Professor Dan Croxall. Professor Croxall teaches everything. No. He'll be teaching civil procedure, torts, and he's also Associate Dean for Admissions, as you know. So he has read every single word that John Steinbeck ever published. Ah. Professor Ed Telfian. Professor Telfian teaches GLS 1, GLS 2, and advanced appellate advocacy. And he's a lifelong Dodgers fan and can be exceedingly grumpy when they lose. Professor Marcy Polinelli. Professor Polinelli teaches leadership and organizational behavior, and she met her husband in 7th grade band class, and they're still making beautiful music together. Professor Dominique Hinson. Professor Hinson teaches trial advocacy, jury selection, mock trial evidence, and the legal profession. Her childhood pet tortoise, Mufasa, is currently 25 years old and lives in Texas with her mom. I know. Professor Rachel Van Cleve. Professor Van Cleve teaches constitutional law, criminal procedure, and comparative Me Too. She went to an Italian middle school in Rome for 1 year. She's fluent in Italian. Professor James Wirrell. Professor Wirrell will be teaching GLS 1 and GLS 2, and over the course of each year, Dean Wirrell walks or runs approximately 1,200 miles, the distance between Los Angeles and Seattle. Breathless. Professor Leslie Jacobs. She teaches constitutional law and raises service dogs from puppies. Yes. Professor Aaron O'Neill. Professor O'Neill teaches statutes and regulations, professional responsibility, capital lawyering and policymaking, GLS 1, GLS 2, and GLS 3. She donated a kidney to her youngest son in 2009 when he was 4 years old. He's now a sophomore at UC Davis. Professor Charles K. Essien. Professor Essien teaches foundations of public administration, governance and public policy, directed study, and he's an avid musician who plays bass and lead guitars. Professor Michael Hunter Schwartz. He's not teaching anything, he's on sabbatical. But as the parent responsible for getting his daughters ready for school each day, Professor Schwartz had to develop an unusual skill, hairstyling. His daughters believed that they should never have the same hairstyle 2 days in a row. That's all that fit on my block, so the story went on a little bit. But Professor Ron Hochbaum. He's in the Bucola Family Homeless Advocacy Clinic and Poverty Law. Professor Hochbaum recently applied to Sacramento City College and will be taking Vocals 101, Introduction to Singing this year. Wow. Professor Mary Beth Moylan. Civil procedure, GLS 3, professional responsibility, rule of law, legal profession. She played Ado Annie, the gal who cannot say no, in a high school production of Oklahoma, and it became her life's mantra. And it's true. Professor Mike Morellis. Professor Morellis teaches wills and trusts, property, cybersecurity law, patent law, and trademark law. He scored 100 on karaoke this summer singing Heaven by Los Lonely Boys. Go, Mike. Professor Jared Wong. Professor Wong teaches contracts both in the day and the evening, and he won the Baby of the Year in Singapore when he was 1. And was crowned by the First Lady of Singapore herself. Professor Haley Graves. Professor Graves will be teaching GLS 1 and GLS 2. Professor Graves, 2020 met her fiance, Michael, class of 2019 at McGeorge, and the couple are getting married in October. Congratulations. We're getting there, don't worry. Professor Omar Dajani. Professor Dajani teaches contracts, public international law, writing for publication, and constitutional law. In the summertime, he plays trombone in a little brass band on a remote Greek island. Professor Blake Nordahl. He teaches in the Immigration Clinic and Immigration Law and Policy. Along with teaching, he'll be training for his 9th marathon this December. He's also the faculty advisor for the running club. Very good. Professor Colleen Truden. Professor Truden is the director of our externship program. She loves rescuing older Shih Tzus who need extra care. We recently adopted an 8-year-old, which makes our 6th over the years. Very good, okay. Professor Paige Davidson. Professor Davidson teaches GLS 1, GLS 3, GLS 2, and evidence. She has 2 pet rabbits that freely roam around her house. Professor Luinda Lacey. Teaching GLS 1 and GLS 2. Professor Lacey has lived in 3 countries, the United States, South Africa, and Japan. Professor Rachel Salcido. Professor Salcido teaches property, wills and trusts, environmental law, and ocean and coastal law. In addition to all things nature and wildlife, she loves music, dancing, and sci-fi. Professor Rishi Batra. Professor Batra teaches intellectual property, mediation, property, negotiation, and settlements. He's been to 29 national parks, and his goal is to visit all of them. That's ambition. Professor Andrew Jers. Professor Jers teaches evidence, criminal law, and expert evidence. He spent a semester studying abroad at the University of Sydney. Professor Stephen Macias. Professor Macias teaches torts, statutes and regulations, constitutional law, and First Amendment law. After 2 successful experiences as driver in President Clinton's motorcade, his 3rd experience came to an abrupt end after backing a black SUV into the vehicle behind while carrying members of the press corps. He was not asked to volunteer a 4th time. Professor Luinda Lacey. Oh, I already said that one. She's on here twice, so sorry. Professor Tori Larette. Professor Larette teaches GLS 1, GLS 2, local government and housing law, and Bucola Family Homeless Advocacy Clinic. Her wife and she have the same name. They are both Victoria Larette. Lastly, but not leastly, Professor Mike Vitello. Professor Vitello teaches civil procedure and our law review seminar. And Professor Vitello reports that there are no fun facts about him. That's our fact.
Roski, what about you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. What about you?
Oh, okay. I have one fun fact. Just the one. I was an extra in The Truman Show. Thank you, everybody. And thanks to this wonderful faculty, you're going to get to know them well, probably for the rest of your lives, so enjoy.
So you can say a lot about our faculty, but boring is not one of them. So now we've come to the time where we're going to be doing the oath, and I'd like to introduce to you a wonderful alumnus who's been presiding over the oath and pinning for a long time, Justice Ronald B. Roby. Justice Roby is a proud McGeorge graduate. He's been a member of the Court of Appeal, Third Circuit in California since 2002. He previously served as a judge on the municipal and superior courts of Sacramento County since 1990, 1983. Before that, he had a career in water resources, serving as a staff director for the California State Assembly Water Committee and as a member and vice chair of the State Water Resources Control Board, and as a director of the California Department of Water Resources. He currently serves as the chair of the Supreme Court Committee on Judicial Ethic Opinions. He is a graduate of the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Pacific McGeorge School of Law. Justice Roby has taught environmental law here at McGeorge for 44 years. He's a wonderful man. I hope you get to know him. He's somebody who's at McGeorge quite a lot, and I'd like to have you welcome Justice Roby.
Excuse me while I get dressed. Thank you. The big argument among the judges is whether zippers or snaps are better. I have snaps tonight. Congratulations, Dean, on your assignment, and welcome to the McGeorge. And thank you very much, Dean Swartz, for the way you left the school in such good condition for Dean Pilitrell. And good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this very special law school. I understand there are more than 200 of you. I can't believe it. It's just astonishing. And I welcome you all because in addition to teaching here for more than 40 years, which is as mentioned by the dean, I have really firsthand knowledge of the quality and the capability of McGeorge. You're going to get a superb education. And congratulations to all of you who are taking this next step on your education. You've already been through all sorts of education. Now here you are doing it again. And believe me, as I told some of the four-year students I met, even though I was in the four-year, it goes fast. At this time, it probably takes forever, but it doesn't really. So you'll be a lawyer in nothing flat. And regardless of the field of study, that you will receive valuable skills at McGeorge in service to the public. And now, more than ever, you need to serve the public as a lawyer, not just for your private gain, but do pro bono, do public service if you at all can. As it was noted, I spent nearly half of my career as an attorney working in the executive branch of the government. That's a lawyer in public service, even though I wasn't technically a lawyer except for the time when I was on the water board. So you can serve your community and your profession no matter what you're doing, whether you're practicing in a private firm or any other kind of law. For those of you, though, embarking on the study of law, you're training for an ancient and honorable profession, in spite of what you might hear about people saying. Each year since I joined the appellate court, more than 20 years ago, I have had one or two externs from McGeorge in my chambers working as a member of my staff. Now, tomorrow, Monday, number 108 and 109 are showing up, and I'm very proud to say that two of my externs are on the faculty here. So you can see they do really very well in McGeorge. And I'm very proud of the fact that I have this continuing connection with McGeorge. And so I encourage you, if you have a chance, to participate in an externship program of some kind, not necessarily the one with the Court of Appeal, but with the federal court, with the district attorney. There are all sorts of it. Colleen Truden has a whole basket full of opportunities for you as an extern. So I would encourage you to do that and spread your knowledge of what's going on around by enriching your education with externships. You don't get paid, but you get everybody I've talked to says it's a benefit to them in their career. In your career following McGeorge, there will be many different ways you can serve the public and make your best of you for all of those opportunities. And I encourage you to start working pro bono while still at law school. McGeorge has many, many opportunities for students to serve. Take advantage of these. Make service your motto from day one. And now, if you will stand, we'll take the oath. Could you all raise your right hands and repeat after me, and I'm going to break it down into, I hope, small enough pieces so you can get through it. As I begin my legal studies, I pledge to act with honesty and integrity. I commit to devoting my best efforts to my studies, assignments, and exams. I will meet the expectations of the McGeorge Code of Student Responsibility. I will interact with my colleagues, faculty, and staff with professionalism, civility, and grace. I will seek opportunities to benefit my community. And will, on every occasion, act in ways that reflect positively on me. I, law school, and the legal profession. I make this pledge freely and upon my honor. Congratulations on beginning law school, and best wishes to every one of you.
So now you can take those pins and you can pin them on you. Give you a minute to do that. So as you're doing that, because it's a little fiddly, I see, I'm going to read just a few tidbits about the composition of your class, and then we're going to end and meet on the lawn after, of course, Jose gets a picture of all of you. So let me just give some statistics. As Justice Roby said, we have actually almost 260 students out of all of you here today. We have 6 visiting scholars and many of you from abroad. The JD program represents 87 national colleges and universities. The master's program represents 32 colleges and universities. Among you, about 60% are female. Languages spoken, 29, including some I've never heard of. I just want to say that. Also, in terms of the JD program, we have 80 students who are first-time college graduates, 187, this is out of about 214 students who are first-time lawyers in their family, and that's really remarkable and so fulfilling for all of us. Over 60% of you identify as students of color, and about 20% of you identify as the LGBT plus community. This is a remarkably diverse class. So with that, I would like to end, and again, we're going to have the picture now. Faculty, if you can just stay here for a moment, and then once the picture is done, I invite you and the family and friends who are viewing remotely to join us for some beverages and snacks on the quad. Thank you so much.
Okay, students, Jose Luis, who's our amazing photographer, is going to take the photo in 3 sections. And then he'll work magic and make it one photo. Please smile and hold it. No blinking or breathing or talking. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to take a series of panoramas. Just hold it, and this will work out. Okay, here we go. This is really going to work. One more time. Thank you.